Your dogs on cue.
He's ready.
Yeah, the dog started just as we pushed the go live. The dog started barking.
Yep. Tyler's out there. He's ready for you, everybody. So,
Happy Memorial Day, everyone.
yeah, happy Memorial Day. It's kind of an odd day. I used to always be at the lake or someplace up Memorial Day, and this year is like, you know,
Terry, is there static coming from your end? Because when I talk, it's not there.
no.
There's like a countdown, like somebody's pumping a beat or something.
Huh. Let me make sure everything's off on
It
here.
really sounds like someone's trying to create it. There it goes. It went away.
Oh, I had YouTube on. Sorry. And we've had a lot of rain, so I noticed
Okay.
that somebody told
We
me the
have
other day that
too, but we don't. Other people are hearing the static too.
Okay.
I'm sorry, folks. We're doing everything we can to kind of figure it out. I've only got. Um, I'm going to close down the one other thing I've got open. Let's see. I'm getting rid of every other thing I can think it could possibly be.
Yeah. How does it sound now, Lori?
It's like somebody's trying to do a rap beat behind our talking.
Really?
Like somebody sitting in the microphone.
Look,
Yeah.
and you're freezing up, so I don't know if that's on my end or yours. Let me exit. Do you want me to
I'm
exit?
freezing up because I'm closing all the other things that might be open.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I closed everything and I don't hear it for a minute. So maybe it was one of those things.
Yeah. How does it sound now, everybody?
I don't hear it. Okay, that was the last little.
Okay.
I think we're done. Oh, thank you. Okay, everybody. Does anybody else out hear it out there? Oh, it came back.
It came back. Let me leave and come back in. Sorry, everybody. Thanks
Okay.
for being here.
Okay.
I'll leave the studio and see if
Then
that.
we'll know it's me, and then we're stuck because I'm the main screen.
Okay.
Went away. Well, here we are. Um, I already talked to Terry about this, and uh, I was looking for a quote to talk about today because what we want to talk about is what do you do with your downtime? When you get a little bit of downtime, what do you do with it? Do you escape into YouTube? Do you uh, read a book? Do what goes on? And I found this quote. Here comes Terry. Okay. It
Hello.
went away when you went away.
Uh-oh. How does it sound now, everybody?
Quiet now.
Okay.
And so the other people are saying it's no big deal. Work past it. But if we got rid of it, then we got rid of it. So
Yeah, hopefully it's gone.
yes. Yay. Anyway, I was about to read to them the quote that I'd read to you earlier in the morning. What we pour out into the world is poured back into us. And I think that's something we need to think about because when you have downtime, are you doing something positive with it? Are you? I know when I was overweight, one of my favorite things to do with downtime was to eat, which was not helping the whole long-term goals there. But I really think now is the time when you come into summer, and for one reason or another, some of the days get slower. I know when I ran volunteers from Memorial Day on, you weren't going to recruit a volunteer, you weren't going to do anything unless it was something to that season. In politics, you might, but if you ran somebody says, "Hi, I'm." A lot of people have been having sound issues with YouTube for various reasons, and we're getting used to it. Yeah, YouTube's a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I was saying is now is the summertime really is, it's like it's like we're educated from the time we're very small. You start school in the fall, and that begins like a whole new year, and then you rush, 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 and you get to the end of spring or Memorial Day or whatever, and that's your kind of break time, you know, and then everything slows down. And I've always thought New Year's should really be in September when school started, because that's when we really fired up. The other firing up in January was just to get you past the cold. The other thing I know about Memorial Day is Memorial Day was originally begun as a holiday to salute the Union soldiers in the Civil War.
Oh,
And so when I first moved to Texas, there'd be business meetings on Memorial Day. I mean, they walked past Memorial Day like it didn't exist. And I was sitting at a thing one time and I said, why is it? And this guy was from a long-term Texas family. And he said, that's because it's a Yankee holiday. And I went, of course, coming from the land of Lincoln, we never heard the Civil War referred to in the kind of tones it's described down here. So
yeah. The first time
somebody's going to keep their energy up.
Lori.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
first time you did what?
Oh, the first time I'd been to Dallas before, but I went down there on business, and somebody called me a Yankee, and it was the first time I'd ever heard it. And I'm like, I'm from the exact middle of the country, and I said, "Sir, I'm from God's country." He said, So anyway, then that's fine.
Yeah. They have their reasons to be there. So what do we want to do with this, girl?
Well, I have a little quote, and you guys have probably all heard it before, but I'll pull it up. Sometimes when you're in a dark place, you think you have been buried, but you've actually been planted. So I feel like sometimes right now, a lot of people are kind of cozying up to old things, old ways, or old modes of knowing, that all of a sudden you think that you've been through all those, and you've learned from that lesson, and something happens and it might get triggered again, that we remember something, and there's still new stuff to learn from it. And I think the higher we get, even though we think that in our light bodies, or our learnings, or whatever you want to call it, it's like you might nitpick at a few things and think, oh, there's something else to learn there, and that's helpful. So you're planting new energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're being planted with new energy. Lori said, we were never taught that Memorial Day was Confederate related, just for all vets. And that's in Illinois, that's what I always thought. It wasn't until I came down here that I found out that veterans didn't. Now, since Vietnam, it really became a more universal holiday.
Interesting.
For those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Okay, this is so true of Texas. I'm 71, grew up in Houston. We would hear all of the time that anyone who lives in Dallas or above were Yankees. They were dead serious. Oh, I tell you, Dallas people, it would take great exception to you saying that. I mean, I would welcome it. Thank you. But there's a different energy. There's when you give you guys some more of our tourist jargon in Texas, when they say Fort Worth is where the West begins, there is more of that feel of the frontier town and where the ranches and all that stuff. Dallas was definitely the city that was trading and trying to grow all around the nation. And you know how all big cities in the country almost are based on there was a river there or a lake, or Kansas City's a perfect example. Dallas had nothing. I mean, we have the Trinity River, but guys, there are lots of times there ain't more word Trinity than river in that name. And what happened, the way Dallas grew was the road hub, the railroad hub was east of us. It went straight from Chicago. I mean, the line that was there already kind of went straight from Chicago down to Houston and went through East Texas. And when they were going to fund the railroad, the state had to come in and they had to pony up so much money to create the railroads. That's how the railroads grew. So the state legislature met and they awarded the money to build the railroad.
Yeah.
But in the law that was written, in the rules that were written for it, it said it had to be within a half a mile of Gorge Springs. Now, Gorge Springs is not a city. Gorge Springs was the original artesian well that fed what is Central Dallas. So when they went to build the railroad, they found out they had to swing all the way west through Dallas. And where our main railroad station is, it's a little further than a mile and a half, but not by much, from where the original Gorge Springs was. And the original Gorge Springs was in a place called Old City Park, which Dallas decided it didn't need heritage anymore. It sold all the old buildings, all the old Victorian mansions, they sold, and every piece of stuff that had been given to them from families. This is something my great-great-grandfather had. They sold all that 2 weeks ago. So now Gorge Springs, the spring is actually under that park. But that's how Dallas got created. It got created by chicanery and lies. Because the guy who wrote the law, the guy who actually was responsible for writing it out, he threw that in so that it makes sure it came to Dallas. And that's why Dallas is here.
Wow.
It's all based on a technicality.
Huh. Yeah, we were lucky. We had the Westport Landing, which actually, like, I think has the oldest bar in Kansas City. So Kelly's, but and used to have cobblestone streets and whatnot. But our era of all that I know of all that conniving was more in the 40s and 30s and the Pendergast era. And Mr. Pendergast owned a concrete company, and the people on the right side of the tracks wouldn't let him into their country club. Who does it sound like? 45 when he got Mar-Largo, right? Anyway, so they wouldn't let him in. So he went in and he went to the country club district of Kansas City, and he built around this creek entirely concrete areas, like a concrete bed, and that still is here to this day. Around that, it carries sewage through it, and they didn't know that for a long time. But there still is a little bit that goes through it.
That's so Victorian. We're going to get you, and I mean, especially because the people who came into new money, they were very ostracized, and they used to take it very personally. There's all kinds of funny stories all around.
Yeah. It's anyway. So he was a big guy in town, and he showed them, and so did 45, didn't he? He opened up that.
Well, anyway, we're not going to discuss those kinds of.
That's right. We are on to better things today. So
I was telling Terry, one of the things I used to do on days off or days when we were working, when I worked at a job outside my home, I had a friend who was a card reader, and we'd get new decks and we'd sit and go through the decks card by card. And I'm going to switch cameras on y'all to the table because it's easier to see it on the table. Yeah. And I'm going to get rid of that light so you can read the label. Dr. Gale had this deck. It's Crystal Medicine Oracle, and it's the text is by a woman named Rachel Sharman and Raquel Sharman, I think is how you say her name. Anyway, it's really, that's the book of crystals I've used for a long time. It's, if I can dig it out. I went looking for this on Saturday when I was talking with Dr. Gale. Here it is. Yes, I found it. This was the original deck I had from her. And these are really interesting oracle decks, and her illustrations of crystals are magnificent. She gives you a really good book to go along with them. And like, that's the image of petrified wood. And then she has like 2 pages about the divas wood, the origins of petrified wood, all of that kind of stuff. So those are decks I really like having. Now, if you're not a deck person, you're not a deck person. But if you are, but she had this deck, and you found a deck you wanted to look at too.
I did. I've got this crystals, the stone deck that I really like. And it's 78 crystals to energize your life. And I'm trying to see who it's by Andrew Smart, and photographs by Jason Weich. I think it's Weich, but Which is good. So anyway.
Okay, it'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, this deck, unlike her previous deck, which had the real stones in them, this has been illustrated, and it's been illustrated by a guy named Len Hibble, Hibbl.
Oh. Hi, Dr. Gale.
Hi, and Dr. Gale has both those decks. Anyway, what I thought we'd do is, what my friend and I used to do is we just pull a card, look at it, and this is the card 33 in this deck, Unconditional Love. And it's Mother Mary in the middle of a diamond.
Wow.
Isn't that beautiful? And I'll read you the definition of kind of what it's about. 32. It says the energy behind the unconditional love card is, this is one of the most powerful cards in the deck. It has come to you today to remind that you are love. Love is expressed here. It's unconditional loves. There are no boundaries. The energy that makes up the universe, and no matter what happens, it embraces you in everything in abundance in all ways. This love is shared with no expectations of getting anything in return. It is your true state of being and who you are to your core, your soul's vibrations. Love is what makes the world go round. And then it's a sign to do whatever you need to do to stay abundant. So
that's so good for right now. I got the ruby, which is stunning.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Now, and it's what it is, a hot pink to Cabernet red. Ruby is a precious gemstone that has bedazzled royalty for centuries. Ruby is a fearless guide and protector, pointing you in the direction of a rich and passionate life. Who needs it? Anyone with something worth fighting for. Any Aries. Where to put it? On a ring on the hand you throw punches with in the boudoir. Oh, I didn't know that. And when to use it. When you want to show the world you're both beautiful and ferocious. When your sex life needs a heaping tablespoon of spice. When the doldrums have you down, reach for the ruby and some really red lipstick and come out swinging.
Oh, that's right. We're going to get these cards in order because I just got this deck. This is the second card. It's Truth and Integrity. And they're round cards. And quite honestly, I've seen lots of round cards. And at points in my life, I had round cards. I find them difficult to shuffle, but mostly, it's really, it's a matter of preference. And there was a wise woman deck that was out in the 70s when I was first reading at psychic fairs, and all of those decks were round. I don't have a prejudice one way or another with it. Now, truth and integrity is you've called on this card to highlight the importance of truth and integrity in your life. It's essential that you keep deep in your heart and find the truth that's there for you. And that's one of the things you can do on kind of a day off. You can go out and just start looking around at things, and all of a sudden things will pop up that will be there that you need to know. You know? And this card goes on and on with its explanation. It talks about being part of medicine summer. Summer is one of the four seasons that comprises the hottest, the sunniest months. True, we're not even to summer yet. It's hot and sunny. An important celebration is held at this time as the summer solstice. Pitching my own stuff. My 9 candles start 9 days before the summer solstice. It's to lead to the solstice. This solstice is going to be huge because it's after all the eclipses and all of the joinings and all of the Jupiter going here and there and all the other resounding changes. I'm not saying it's going to slow down at the solstice, but I'm saying it's the day when it's the most balanced. And if you come back tomorrow, I'm doing a whole show on how I got into really getting interested in energy flow in the universe, the solstices, the ley lines, and the elementals. So, and I'm going to talk a lot more about what this is saying. It's a great time that signifies the longest day of the year, the peak daylight hours. Almost every culture celebrates it because it's something that happens everywhere. You can't be anywhere on the globe and not know time is changing. And its crystal is turquoise. And if you look at the face, it's turquoise. It aids you in understanding your feelings. Find some time. Here's a little ceremony it has for you. Find some time in your day. Work with turquoise if you have a piece, or you can use chrysocolla or any blue stone. Blue stones work. Focus on your breath. Call upon the energy and the spirit of summer to shower over you. Ask for assistance when you're seeing your truth. Sit there and think about the spirit of summer and come back into the moment where feeling clear and you want to implement your truth and your energy. So that's kind of a little thing you can do with that. What you got, girl?
I love that one. I pulled a blue stone too next, and it's Larimar, which I have some right here. And I love it because Larimar can often look like glass.
Mm-hmm.
The piece that I have, it's a seafoam toned Larimar. It's a volcanic blue mineral only found in the Dominican Republic.
That's right.
Its energy is like a spiritual snow cone for the seething and sweltering. Who needs it? Wow, Aries again. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When super agitated, stop, drop, hold Larimar in your left hand and commence cooling breath. Stick your tongue, your rolled tongue, and slowly inhale. And that's a Vedic trick, doing that. So, and then releasing. When to use it. When you feel like all the world's problems are suddenly just your problem, and anger stands between you and the formation of articulate sentences. Remember, chill is a choice. Ride the cool breeze with Larimar, which I like a lot.
It's such a cool looking crystal. I mean,
Yeah, it is. It's really beautiful. I had it right here the other night underneath some of my paperwork, but I don't see it now. But it really is stunning, and it it does do that. It does kind of calm me down. So, um, but I feel like there's a lot of times right now where we could get cooled down.
oh boy, could we ever. Yeah,
Yeah,
because we're in a hot time of transformation. And when things are transforming and moving, movement creates heat. That's one of those laws of physics. And you've been drawn to this card today to highlight that you are currently in the process of a powerful transformation. Energy is available for you to expand and awaken any time in your life. Transformation is a huge part of personal growth and awakening, but it's not always comfortable. Yeah, I mean, I think that's how it lets us know what's happening. It makes us uncomfortable. And it's got a little ceremony for dealing with transformation. It's also in this card, they picked it because it's the medicine snake. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the snake eating its own tail, and I forget what that's called.
Is that Kundalini?
Mm, that could be, but snakes dislocate their jaws and swallow life whole. They also completely shed their skins at birth. They've got a lot of interesting things they do. They also slither on the ground, and I think they're creepy. The stone that goes with this one's obsidian, which is sheer black. And this is another one where you take your obsidian out and use nature as your medicine. Get out in nature and get surrounded by nature and receive the guidance. I have to go out and visit Hogarth today, and it's already 94 degrees. And now Hogarth, my tree is not a mile from my house or anything, but this may be one of those days when I take him up on his offer. Oh, just call on me. Oh, that's the Ouroboros. It's the tongue eating its own tail. Thank you.
Nice.
What you got, girl?
Okay. This one is, I don't know this one. Astrophyllite.
Hold it up again.
Astrophyllite.
It's dark brown, right?
Yeah, it's a dark brown. Has speckles in it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, interesting. Astrophyllite gets its name from the Greek word star and leaf. It forms in precise brown-orange metallic blades that contain titanium and iron. Very rare and very expensive. That's why I don't know it. It's found in only a few isolated locations like Pikes Peak in Colorado and Norway and Quebec. Who needs it? Anyone with a permission slip for intergalactic travel. Dr.
Okay,
Gail.
Dr. Gail. We found your stone.
Right? Yeah, where to put it? Wherever you go to blow the lid off, like a retreat or a vortex, Mount Shasta, where to use it. When it's time to step outside of yourself, like way outside, call on the energy of astrophyllite to electrify you with superhero purpose so you can take flight. And I think a lot of us right now are doing a lot of astral traveling and meditation and sleep, right? Yeah, you need that one. I'm going to hold this one out and send this to you, Dr. Gal. So, yeah, that's interesting.
And I got 30 is the teacher. It's the wolf. And it's Shattuckite. 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 And I actually have had a piece of that. I bought a single piece to put in a crystal grid I built once. And it is a teaching stone. It's a stone where you can bring questions and collect your consciousness. And it lets you know there are answers outside of yourself, as well as the ones that are within you. And it's really a deep inner teacher. It's a beautiful. It's in there. It's a dark stone. So,
Nancy Jean, you don't even have to read the things on those, do you? You just know them.
Some of them I do.
Yeah. Hi, Gerald. Gerald's here, and Deanne. Good to see you. And the next one I get is a meteorite. So, interesting. Yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
Okay.
You sound like you do.
Yeah. I'm going to put me on the camera because.
Okay.
Meteorites are tektites, and what they are is they're, until they land on the earth, they're a stone that's in space. And some of the earliest stones we found from the very beginning of the Big Bang, if you still believe it was one Big Bang, they're full of peridot, which is the same little green crystal, which some people on our planet call olivine. Actually, they're two different stones, but they land when a there's two kinds of meteorites that land on the earth. They're entirely iron, or they have mixed minerals in them. And the most common one, and actually the only one I've ever personally physically seen, it looked like a stained glass window. Someone had taken a meteorite that had landed, and they'd sliced it into slices, and when you held it up to the light, you could see the light coming through the peridot.
Wow.
It was like a stained glass window built in space. And so technically, if something's a tektite, now the other ones that are tektites are Libyan glass. Have you ever seen Libyan stained glass? That's where the meteors come in, and they're so hot that they melt the sand. And because it's created by a meteor, it becomes what they call a tektite. Moldavite is a tektite. Shungite is a tektite. Any stone that's formed on this earth by interaction with meteor type object is tektite.
I do have.
Right.
Yeah.
They're very, very powerful stones because they're so unique. Now, you can get peridot. Our planet makes peridot. It makes it in the top 1/3 of a lot of volcanoes, especially a lot of volcanoes in Hawaii and in the South Seas. There's a place called Peridot Beach, and it's nothing but small little grains of peridot that came out of a volcano. So,
Wow. Is that a black sand beach then?
no, it's green.
It's all green? Dang. I've seen a pink beach. I've seen a black beach. And of course, white sugar sand and golden, but never a green one. That would be amazing.
I've never been there. I've only seen it, and I have a feeling it's in a pretty obscure place. So
Yeah.
you're going to have to plan quite a boat ride to get there.
I think I'll pass. I get boat sick, seasick a little bit.
To do the cruise I did, I had to wear the scopolamine patch every day. And it was so funny because you'd be in the elevator going from different levels of the ship, and you'd see another person with the scopolamine patch. But I could not have gone on a cruise without that. My vestibular coordination totally sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. We had an ocean going boat when we were in Florida, and it was old 1976 Chris Craft.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a heavy thing, and it would take the weight.
Mm-hmm.
But it was hard. It was difficult some days.
My father was a big boater, and I lived on the Great Lakes. And the Great Lakes are just inland freshwater seas, and they're huge. And you can be in some pretty rough water in them. When I was a little kid, my vestibular coordination problems got worse as I got older.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's tough. It was hard being out there, but as long as it was smooth sailing, or if we were fishing and I was catching, but if we were just sitting there in the
As
Gulf
long as
Stream,
you're focusing on anything other than the inside of your body.
yeah. Yeah. But it's still the ocean just calls to me. So beautiful.
So what stone do you have for us next?
Oh, well, I think it's your turn. But
Okay, my turn?
yeah, it's your turn.
Okay, I'm just trying to make you work.
I like that deck a lot, Nancy Jean.
I do too. Let's see. I turned to a page, and I think I want to talk about this.
Okay.
Sacred healing.
Oh, wow.
And it's malachite. which is one of my favorite stones. And the only warning about malachite is if you have it out in your house and you have small children that might think it's a candy, disabuse them of that. They can die if they can get copper poisoning from it, because that's what makes it green. But it's a very important healing stone. And this way, let's go. And you're called upon this card for a very sacred time of powerful healing on all levels. There are many aspects to healing, and the imbalance of the system can affect the levels in your body, mind, and spirit. Our bodies have incredible awareness and intelligence to heal themselves, but we tend to hold on to old emotions and thoughts which stop us. And so you use malachite to break through that.
You know, malachite to me always has a smell to it. So I always keep some right by my desk, but it always smells a little like sulfur. I don't know if that's my
It's
malachite.
the copper. It's the copper
Is it the
stuff.
copper? Yeah. Yeah. I do keep that a lot around me, but I think it's amazing. It's so powerful. I like this one too, tiger eye.
Oh, I
And
love tiger's eye.
right. And it used to be you could find a lot of them when you were going around at garage sales or thrift stores. And they were so beautiful. And if Gerald is still here, he has an amazing necklace that he uses to read with out of tiger eye. What is it? Tiger eye is a gold brown quartz displaying a light reflecting optical phenomenon known as, you might help me with this, chaturans or cat's eye that appears just below
Yes,
the
I
surface.
call it cat's eye. I gave up on that other word.
Thank you. Who needs it? The currently overthinking and mood swinging Geminis and Virgos. So lots of Geminis this month having birthdays. Where to put it? On a string of prayer beads hanging from your middle finger, counted during meditation, along with your blessings. When to use it? When your thoughts are not your friends, when reading Jungian theories, or attempting to decipher a Zen koan. I didn't know what that was. When you're all roar and not enough purr, when only equanimity of mind, body, and spirit, left brain and right brain, can get you square with the universe. So,
Yeah, this is on my table while I read. I've got a little stand for it to be in. And I saw it in a crystal store, and I bought it because it has every color that you can get in tiger's eye. The blue, it also, tiger's eye can go blue and gray and other things, and there's some blue in there. It's hard to see. These cameras are not meant to show this.
I can see the eye in it, though. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My niece is here, and we were talking last night, and she goes, "Have you ever seen a goat's eye?" And I said, "No." And their pupil is kind of looks like a tiger eye. It's got that stripe in it, which I never really looked at, but same colors. I don't know.
Okay, let's see. Randomly, we go. It's I Am Presence is in this deck, this Sacred Medicine deck. And it's easier if I do it this way.
Deanne wants to know if you sell all these stones. Nancy.
Do I?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
What I tell you to do is go to a good, good old plain rock shop. Look them up. They're everywhere in the country. And I go to a rock shop that's been selling. It started out as a hippie bead shop in the 60s, and it's been around that long. And like, I'll occasionally buy these sorts of stones because it's a kind of yellow I can't get. So they dye magnesite. That's a stone that takes color very well. They dye it yellow. They dye it blue. They dye it a real rich purple. And occasionally I'll use those in my grids because the color is more important. The color vibration is more important. But every stone in their place that they've treated at all is marked as having been treated. Because there are a lot, matter of fact, this came up yesterday. one of the other shows I have on my schedule of shows is I'm going to do what they can do to stones to color them, and stones that are real and stones that aren't real, even though their molecular structure looks exactly like what you think. There's a lot of man-made opal in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And people, they ask me, well, if you work with it, it works for you, fine. Anyway, I'll go into that in another show. Now we are I am presence, Oracle I am presence attracted. It's celestite, and that's a very beautiful blue stone. You're attracted to high-powered vibrational card for your awareness today. Celestite is a very, very heavy vibrational stone. And it's usually you find those stones when you're at a point in your life where you're looking for guidance. And I'm heavy. I know it looks retarded, guys, but it's really hard. These cameras are all backwards from where you think they would be. And it's you can use that stone when you've entered into a time of awakening and realizing what's really going on around you. And you can use the celestite to connect you more closely and faster to the answer.
Yeah. So, some stones, like Medium Kim talks about that. She's got some stones that she wears that have been engaged or powered up,
Mm-hmm.
but they're simulated, like a simulated
Yeah,
topaz.
and if the element and the power of the image is in many ways in stones is as important as the stone themselves. And the difference between a stone and a crystal, we really shouldn't call them the same thing. Crystals have highly organized molecular structures down to the teeniest little part. Okay. So no matter how you break them up, when they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and where you can tell, like fluorite always forms into those little octahedrons, which is why I like them. Because if you hold a fluorite octahedron, that's sort of like the Merkaba symbol in the middle. And it's as above, so below, because you got the 2 points on top. To the right, to the left, you got those 2 points. And all around you, to the front and the back. So all those points point above and below, to the right, to the left, to the front, to the back. And you're in the middle. And when I used to read at table, I would give people little tiny fluorites, because stones are like tape recorders and they hold the energy of what they've heard. And I'll say, this is for you so you can remember the reading. And I had several, when I first started saying that, I'm going, to me, it was kind of a good selling point. You had a reading and you walked away with something other than just words. But I had people over the years that I did that who told me they would be at a point and they'd be digging around in their purse, or they'd be looking on their top of their camp, and they'd find that stone, and it would be right when what I was telling them was starting to unwind. And if they held the stone, they could remember what path they'd heard to go. So just
Wow.
telling you. And fluorites are, the most of fluorites came out of China. And I fortunately, right as COVID started, got several bags, because the store that I work with told me to get Brazilian quartz, Brazilian amethyst, whatever was in the country, because those mines were closed because of COVID. There's a lot of places we couldn't get crystals from.
Yeah.
But the difference between a crystal and a stone is a mix of minerals, but it's not in the highly organized form of a crystal. That's why crystals can be clear. They don't always have to be clear, but they can be clear.
So I know that the earth is made up, and we're made up of a lot of stardust, right?
Right. It's all stardust.
It's all stardust. It doesn't matter if it's a stone or it's crystal. It's all stardust. Okay.
It's all stardust. And, the only thing you need to know is if someone's colored a stone. The most famous one is amethyst and citrine are the same crystal. I mean, if you take them down, but the difference is the, the the orange one, the yellowish one, has been in the ground longer under more heat than amethyst.
Oh,
And so people give, that's why people give different powers to different feelings to different stones, is because they've been through different experiences and they mean different things. I've got one that I pulled out today because I'm going to do a little cord cutting later today.
oh,
This is a desert rose. Let's see if I can.
whoa.
Have you ever seen that?
Never seen anything like it. That's beautiful.
It's selenite, but
Get out.
they come out of Oklahoma near where you are. The wind blasts them and it carves that out, and they can be really light like this. I have some that are orangish and dark. I have one, it's still called a desert rose because of how it's formed by the winds and the sands, that actually has sharp blades on the top. It looks like a porcupine, like that the dinosaur that had the blades.
I have this one that Reverend Saul gave me before he passed, and he pulled that out of Arkansas. I guess
Yes,
that's iron down there.
we
Iron
call it
ore.
the matrix. It can be a lot of different things, but
Yeah.
most times it's iron. Mm-hmm.
But it's got. He said this is Archangel Michael and a channeler's crystal.
Yeah, because it's clear
Yeah.
and it starts from the ground. The most, if you want to go crystal hunting and you're in the middle of the U.S., Arkansas crystal mines produce the clearest crystals. They really do.
Yeah.
The absolute clearest crystals are produced in Herkimer, New York.
Oh, which are the Herkimer diamonds, right?
That's why they're called Herkimer diamonds.
Yeah.
But I've seen some that are in sort of chunky, but most of them are pretty small.
Yeah. Yeah. You can get them on. I remember I was looking at getting a bracelet for my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Them because I think they hold something, don't they? I like their good protection.
They're protective and they reflect truth.
Yeah. Yeah. When she was traveling, I thought that'd be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Jasper. I'm pulling.
Yes.
So Jasper describes a huge variety of opaque quartz stones from Picasso jasper. I'm going to be prolific to Mokolite jasper. I'm going to lay low and power up to red jasper.
Mucolite. It's mucolite.
Mukolite. Okay.
And it comes from the Muka Springs near the opal beds in Australia.
Oh, wow.
I have a bag of mucolite.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
I use
Okay.
it if you want a crystal grid, I use those sorts of things in my crystal grid.
Yeah. Yeah. These earthy babies help us align to our core powers. Who needs it? Air, signs, and city folk.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. Where to put it? Wherever you are when you'd rather go barefoot, pulling vibes from the earth below. Think white sand, green grass, yoga mat. When to use it? When you want to get back into your body after a stressful work week, a long flight, or a lit meditation session. I'm going to remember that because I do have a lot of red jasper, and I need that after meditation sometimes.
Red jasper really fires you up.
Yeah.
When you're working with it.
Wow. This is really interesting. I like this. Going through these with you because Nancy Jean knows.
Well, I'm surprised sometimes at how much I know because I just keep working with it. I found red jasper in my deck too for you. And it's for sacred clearance and ceremony.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
And if you don't recognize it, that's Ayers Rock in the middle of Australia, the big red. Well, it's called, I'm not being culturally aware.
Is it a mesa?
It's a huge thing that just you're going across the outback and then all of a sudden there's this big red thing.
Oh.
And I think it's called Ukululu or something. Wait a minute. It's I'm sorry, but my limited English only white girl background showing. I found the description.
RB says Uluru.
Yes.
Thanks, RB. Or
Hmm.
something like that.
It helps create a sacred space. The redness aligns you with the joy of life, and it assists in honoring ancestors. People used to climb on that stone and stuff, and then the native population said, no, no more.
Yeah.
And
That's
here I'm making it have an earthquake. Um, but it's gorgeous. It's just the red in it. When you see really good pictures of it, the red in it is just unbelievable.
yeah. Beautiful country, Australia. I always wanted to go there. Yeah, Deanne says must be sacred to the Aboriginal Aussies.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
sacred.
it's actually sacred to all of us because it's one of the chakras of the earth.
That's right. So
Mhm.
don't you feel like there's new chakras opening up now?
Well, there's one that
Inside us
floats around.
and down there.
Dr. Gale and I were looking at this one map from a couple of years ago, and I don't know which chakra it is, but it was floating up in the Arctic. And she had been told she'd visit all the chakras, and she said, I think I'll miss that one. I think she went there. It was called Shasta.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and the heart chakra moves around too, doesn't it? Like it has
The
a
heart chakra moves around us if you energetically shift to higher frequencies. I know that's what caused me to almost get a fun visit to the emergency room. I'd been pulled up into 6D because apparently someone that I could only speak to and see in 6D had to absolutely talk to me right then. And I woke up in the morning and I felt fine, and I was up walking around and I started talking to a friend of mine, and I said, something's wrong. And
yeah.
she said, what? And I have a blood pressure cuff. I also have a watch that watches my heart rate. Anyway, my heart rate got up to 200. And she said, you've calmed it down before. Do you want to try doing deep breathing before I call the ambulance for you? And I said, yes, let's try that one first. So I did the deep breathing and I got it under control. But then, you know how you're a balloon and you're happy and you're floating around and somebody sticks a pin in it I felt completely deflated. My heart rate was in the 90s at that point. And my heart rate stays in the upper 60s on an average through the day. So that was still a lot. And she said, you need to talk to one of your buddies. So I talked to one of my friends that does Akashic Records, and they looked around and said, oh, this is what happened. And their, their story was that when you shift between dimensions too quickly, your chakras get moved because they're there to protect you in that dimension. And apparently, your root chakra eventually becomes part of your heart chakra. And so my root chakra was up, or my heart chakra ought to be. I have no idea where the hell my heart chakra was. But in the switching around, and it got caught in, I was in I was plunging back into 3D, and they managed to stop that and let me stabilize my own body. My my cardiologist, I've sat in his office and stabilized my heartbeat by meditating, and he's fine with that because his auntie in India is a well-known astrologer, so he thinks how the world ought to work. I'm very fortunate in finding doctors who go along with me, um, but I don't know. I mean, other people, I know a lot about where I get tugged around to and what I learn, but I don't know how to control all of it. And that's why I feel bad when people come to me and say, well, how should I control this? I don't know. I just do it. Um, but there are people in Akashic Records and people who do a lot of energy work, people who do a lot of high level Reiki work that know all about that stuff. I don't know if they all know about the shifting chakras, because I talked to some of my Reiki people and they went, they told you what? So.
Yeah, oh, Tyler's talking about it too, but I can get my heart rate down by breath work when I go to the doctor, and they know that because when I go in, it's sky high because finding a parking space in their parking lot is crazy.
Do you have white coat fever?
Probably.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I grew up with doctors and I have it, but I'll just tell them, take my blood pressure in another 10 minutes. They'll come back in. They'll like it's not attached to the same body.
Yeah. 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 But it is, I mean, I know how to do it with breath work to tell people to do, but with Reiki, it's, oh, Jules says intergalactic Reiki facts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 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 Wow. Okay. Let's pull one more here.
We'll pull one more because we're going to wrap it up.
Okay. Okay. This is one of my favorites. So lapis.
Oh, I love lapis.
I know. I'm so glad we're ending on that one.
Mm-hmm.
What it is, a deep blue stone with deep history. See ancient Egypt, Tukahanam's eyeshadow, the Old Testament, the high priest in Israel's vestments, and the Dutch.
Wasn't that in the center of the vestment? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. And then the Dutch Galactic Age, or the Dutch Golden Age. Oh, Vermeer's.
Used it as paints.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Do you want to talk about it? Because you know so much more about it than I do.
No.
I read it.
Lapis is popular and one of the most amazing jewels, and it goes all the way back to the Egyptians and beyond before them. They would grind it down, like you said, apply it as eye makeup. Crystal meanings of lapis are powerful spiritual initiation stone, awakening spiritual wisdom and knowledge, opens you up to clairvoyance. So if you've been avoiding that, it can help you open that up. Supports past life awareness and healing on many karmic patterns. So if you're doing a lot of shadow work, you might want to. And lapis is not that expensive to get a hold of. Enhances psychic gifts and awareness, and it can sever karmic ties. So if you got somebody around you that you think came from another time and another mother and you don't want to be around them anymore, get out your lapis. And all of these things we talked about today have to do with healing and the karma that what we're passing through right now. And I don't do real like health questions, but I do kind of some healing, Ness,
Yeah.
it'll be on again. You can see us. She said she missed the show.
Yeah. Ronnie says they had 12 stones in the vestment to represent the 12 tribes.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful, Ronnie. Yeah. Yeah. And Gail says your heart chakra grows as your sacred root and root chakra shift. Oh,
Okay.
sacral and root chakra shift.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's just what we do. What can I say? But anyway, I'm thank you so much, Teri, for showing up today and talking to us. This is kind of what I used to do on holiday days when I'd get out a deck, and when I'd get a new deck when I was reading in public, I would take the first time I had the deck, I would put a sign on one free reading if you asked for it. So I could practice on people that didn't have any money in the game, and I could just lay them out and see how they worked. And I remember the first deck I did that with was the Wisdom Power Tarot, Radley Valentine's deck, Archangel Power.
Yeah.
And that's when I found out men really like that deck. They really enjoyed how that deck was put together. And when they would come back, I was sort of the place a lot of men ended up at because their wives were shopping.
Yeah.
And they just talk to me, and then we get around to being reading. And I remember this one guy who came back. He said, "You need to read me again." And they were from out of town. They were from Florida. And when I read him, I saw that his business was going through a complete change. He was finally learning to let go, which had been the issue the first time I read with him. He had to be in charge of everything, and businesses can fail from that.
Yeah.
And when I told him, I said, "You just decided this recently." And he said, "Just leave those cards on the table, and I want you to explain to my wife what you've seen." So here's the guy dragging her away from shopping to listen. And it ends up the night before, they'd come into Dallas to meet with some people, but not really about business. And the night before, it had occurred to him that they had this friend that could take over certain parts of the managing of his company in Florida. And they'd actually called the guy that morning and said, "Would you be interested in taking this position? We'll work it all out when I get back to Florida." And he was making his mind up, and I saw the card said yes. So the guy called me 3 days later and said the guy said yes. And he said, "I love those cards." He said, "They don't look like any other tarot cards I've ever seen."
Yeah. I don't have a lot of tarot cards, but I think I have those. They're beautiful.
They are. They're gorgeous. Anyway, that's 101. So we're going to let everybody go, have the rest of their holidays. And Vicki, I'll send you a note about azurite. Somebody asked about azurite. Somebody
Yeah.
knows. I will let you know. She's recovering from COVID. So
Oh, yeah.
anyway,
Lots of love.
everybody take care, because we could gossip about everything forever. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
No.